We had to research the thriller genre and historical aspects. We found that Wikipedia helped us find out the history of thriller. We then had to look at the conventions of an opening title sequence, which involved mise-en-scène, sound, editing, cinematography, the narrative and characters. We used YouTube to look at different types of opening title sequence for inspiration for our research. We looked at how they rate most thriller films, and we saw what needed to be in the film for it to be rated. For example, most thriller films are commonly rated a 15 due to there is usually violence, swearing, and almost always involves crime. We found out the ratings of films via IMDb and BBFC film classification. We then had to present in Prezi or PowerPoint. The research we did for this helped us understand a lot to do with thriller. We also did a preliminary task to get the hang of using the basic steps of using a camera and the rules of filming. It also gave us a look of how to edit a short clip. We then got put into groups to start planning and researching to make our own opening title sequence. When we started putting ideas together of what we wanted in our opening title sequence, we then had to pitch the class and our teachers to share our ideas. They then gave us feedback on what sounded good about our ideas and what needed to be changed. This was recorded on a Flip Video Ultra camera.
We used the same camera for our preliminary exercise as we did in our final piece, a Sony HC7, which we first used to experiment with and practice keeping continuity between shots. Our prelim short helped us to get used to filming using different shots, such as panning and close-ups, which are typical of thrillers. We filmed inside the college, learning how to change the exposure, white balance and focus, so that when we went out into Brighton to film our final piece, we would know how to do it. We recorded our ambient sound when out filming, creating a wild track so that we would have some diegetic background sound, which we could overlay with the footage if the sound for that was unusable. Our non-diegetic sound, such as the Foley sound of the telephone ringing, was found on the internet in sound banks. The soundtrack was found in Computech, and we edited it to make it slower pace so that it would fit in with our own footage. We also recorded our own radio report using a Manat's Professional PMD 660, which we were then able to overlay onto the film. We chose a simple, clean font for our film title so that we would use effects on it without making it look too messy. The static and flickering is representative of a CCTV camera, linking the title to crime in the narrative and the thriller genre.
In post-production on Adobe Premiere, we used fast-paced editing to make the opening title sequence gradually increase in tempo as we wanted to build up tension until the bag is taken and the main title appears. We decided to desaturate the colour and colour grade a blue tone over shots of the antagonist to make it seem cold and dark. We also decided to complement this by increasing the brightness slightly and colour grading a warm yellow over the shots of the protagonist to make the contrast between the shots more prominent. Our titles appear in negative space in our shots to complement the footage and not distract from what is happening in the frame. We added a Gaussian blur as they fade in and out, which represents the element of mystery and staying hidden, two themes which are very important in our film as a whole. We chose a plain white colour so it's easy to read against the footage and it's simple, just like the protagonist's boring day-to-day life. For certain titles we added a linear white which made the text disappear as the car drove past or the antagonist walked past. Our main title is very different to our others, so it's more striking and memorable. We used a very urban style font to match the urban setting within the film and made the title increase in size so the viewer feels slightly uncomfortable and on edge. I added noise and offset to make the text flicker as the music does. Our soundtrack starts off slow and gradually increases in pace to match the increase in pace of the film. We did this by having another piece of music overlaying the original halfway through. This builds up tension well and has a cold feel to it. We recorded a radio report which gives hints about the kidnapping and uses it as a sound bridge to link the two scenes together.